Yo, what's up YouTube? It's me, Hype I'm here to do a quick little recap video on this team that I featured on my channel a while ago with the Sagamir, Garius, and Ardreth keeping you pretty much shielded the whole fight. And I've now had 3 weeks to play with it on the main servers. The video was a test server video that was like a little bit ahead of time. No one had Ardreth at the time. That was when I was still testing things with Ardreth. But I made the team on my main account, and I've been using it now for like 3 weeks. I've gone through multiple different weekly buffs, and right now is, I would say, the best weekly buff we're probably ever going to get this season. I mean, you can see here, 114 million damage. My showcase video had 65 million on a weekly buff that was basically useless. It gave us nothing. So, I mean, this weekly buff, I will show you guys here in a second. So this is my best score pretty much ever, I think. This was a bit of a lucky run. I normally get around 110, 111 on these weekly buffs, which is still a lot, but this is my best score yet. So 114 million, and I will show you what weekly buffs we have here. So bosses take 30% more cold damage. So I mean, our main damage source is cold, and then allies with shields receive up to 50% damage bonus based on their shield to HP ratio. And again, we're keeping our guys almost permanently shielded. So both of these buffs are kind of insane, kind of cracked. That's why we're able to get so much damage. Don't expect this kind of damage on every week. There's going to be weekly buffs where then we go back down to that 65 million because the weekly buffs don't benefit us at all. So keep that in mind. Don't get jebaited by this damage. But this is, for this week is a pretty good score. And I normally end up around, on my server, around rank 12 or 13, roughly, which is great for a team that has, I would say, is fairly budget compared to like some of those super whale teams with like full 5 legendaries with inspirations and all that. So let me go a little more in depth on some of the changes I made after testing and playing around with this team. So the first thing is I did change the timings very slightly. So here are my new timings. The main thing that I was noticing was there are times when your carrot goes on the wrong target. It doesn't go on Garius, and then he ults a little bit late and has to kind of play catch up. And in those scenarios, my Ardreth ult would have expired. So instead of having her 9.9 seconds before Garius, I'm just playing it safe here and having her about 5 seconds before Garius. The time for her to cleanse before the Garius ult isn't that important, because with the way her targeting works on her cleanse, she's almost always only targeting one person anyway. She'll target the ally with the lowest HP to cleanse. And in this setup, I have set it up so that Girthin is that target. I want Girthin staying alive as long as possible, and I have her built full damage, so she's the most important person to cleanse, so I have her as the lowest HP. And then my Bledin, I'm building him a little tankier with some more HP because his damage is not as important, and we can go for some more survivability stats just to get his HP above hers. So I will show you guys now the gear that I'm working with here. The gear is, I would say, roughly the same as what I had on the test server. It's not really all that much better or worse. It's just about the same. It took a bit of time to farm, especially some of the runes, but I'll show you guys what I mean by that. So I'm using Hourglass on Ardreth. You can get the job done with Incense Burner and some skill haste and stuff, but this is just an easy artifact I had to slap on. Gives her enough skill haste. I don't even have any from the runes or the gear, just all Hourglass, putting in all the work here to get her cooldown low enough. And then it's kind of a weird setup here, but I'm going Gambler set to give her some more attack speed so she can heal and cleanse more often. And then I'm stacking defense. I'm trying to get some crit rate mixed in there just so I can get a little bit of damage out of her. I think I'm even going crit rate gloves, which is maybe a little unconventional. I would probably do defense if I was you, but anyway, I'm trying to maximize her damage just to try and get those numbers a little bit higher. And then we're going a crit damage artifact with attack speed on it and defense. And another, looks like I have an attack rune here with attack speed and defense, but you could use a defense rune if you have one. That one just happened to have a lot of the stats that I liked, so I went with this one. And then Sagamir, the gear is pretty much the same as it was on the test server. I have just around 20-something skill haste, with mainly it coming from the set bonus. And then I'm using the crown, and we're building him full damage because we can afford to. He's not dying first anyway. He has enough HP, just as like him being a tank, him being a defense unit. He's already tanky enough. He's not going to be dying first, so we're just going all in on damage just to get a little bit more, get those numbers a little higher. Garius, this is the one that's kind of hard to gear. You need skill haste. You need about 102, I think, in total. Stop clicking. I can't avoid that. But yeah, 102 skill haste is the number you're going for to get his cooldown down to 13.3 seconds with the Sagamir. And so that's kind of hard to reach. We got the 60 coming from the staff, and then an extra 18 here from the rune, and then another 25 actually here. So you need some pretty good skill haste rolls on the runes. And I just got lucky enough. I got some defense runes here with a lot of skill haste. This took, I don't know how much stamina, but like maybe like 500 to like 1,000 stamina of just grinding Ancient Battlefield to get these. So it might take you a bit of time grinding to farm these out, but once you get them, you can use Ancestral Protection on your Garius, which is the main reason we need those runes, is we want him taking the damage share and also getting the damage reduction from the set so that he dies later and doesn't get one shot by the boss as early. And then we're going with Bledin. I'm using now a Cyril set on him as well, just alternating those defense penalties, also alternating the buff from the Cyril set to kind of maximize the damage Girthin can do. She's doing all the damage, so we don't care about him being in an Inventor set or anything as much because his damage is just a small percentage. It's like 15% or something. So we're just going for a set bonus that's going to maximize Girthin's damage. And we have, you know, again, full damage stats pretty much, building him full DPS with a bit of like survivability mixed in there with some HP. The Witch's Remains conveniently gives him a lot of HP, so it's easy to get his HP value high enough. He's at like, what, 47,000 right now, and Girthin is here at 45,000, just below him. And I'm using this God of War's Blessed Belt, which is, in my opinion, the best in slot artifact for this team. The Revitrix's Roots, the artifact from Fae Meander, is also really good. It just gives so much HP that it's really hard to build around her being lower HP than Bledin at that point. You'd have to put like HP percentage or something on Bledin. But this artifact also does a crazy amount of damage. It's a really good artifact for anyone who's rare or epic. This gives a ton of attack. This is probably the second best behind the God of War's Blessed Belt, if you can find a way to work it in there. And then, yeah, that's pretty much the gear. And the gear on Girthin is, like I said, it's like pretty much full DPS, all crit rate, crit damage, and attack percentage, going for that 80% crit rate. I have pretty good crit damage. I have exactly 80 crit rate, good crit damage, and pretty high attack. And yeah, that's just the recap on the team. I've had 3 weeks to play with it, and it does work. This is not a scam. My first video was not a bait or anything. This team does work. I've had people talk to me about like they're struggling to get the team working. Some things that can go wrong with this team, which is maybe why they're not getting the results that I was getting, is their carrot is going on the wrong target at some point in the fight because maybe their DPS are built too glass cannon. They're taking too much damage, or their cleanse from Ardreth is not cleansing them in time, and they're getting hit too hard, and then the carrot's going on them, and Garius is then late on the shields, and you then die. Another thing that can happen, which is something is unavoidable, is you can miss your attack penalty. There is an inherent built-in chance to miss in this game that is unavoidable. So sometimes you'll just miss your attack penalty, and that'll get you killed, and you'll die early. But that's not something you can control. You just got to restart the run. It'll normally take me like 1 or 2 runs, maybe 3 sometimes, to get the results I want, because sometimes I get unlucky and I miss an attack penalty in the later rounds and I die early or something like that. So keep that in mind. It might take 2 or 3 runs to get a consistent number, but this team is fully capable of the numbers advertised in the first video, and with the right weekly buffs, as you can see, 114 million is a crazy amount and is up there contesting with some of the biggest whales on my server who, have fully legendary inspired teams and stuff. We're up here in the hundreds right now with this weekly buff. So that's nice. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.